Today's video is sponsored by Picker's Grip. Stop dropped picks and pick rotation while playing with Picker's Grip. Made with all natural ingredients in Virginia. Check out their website to order. When you support my sponsor, this also supports my channel, and it's very much appreciated. Today here in the dungeon, we're checking out more of the ToneCore series pedals from line 6. My little pre-video display thing. Yeah. Let's anyway, the other day I did a video on these two pedals, which are the crunch tone distortion, which is which is basically a rock crunch type of distortion, as the name implies, and also as this one, and the name of this one implies, the uber metal distortion pedal. I am going to do another video today on the modulation and time-based effects out of that series, at least most of them, the ones that I own. And in the video the other day, I mentioned that the cores or the modules of these pedals actually pop out and are interchangeable. So that is the first thing I'm going to do, because I happen to have more modules than I do pedal docks. And in this, the instance of this particular video, I am not going to use one of these distortions to demo the time-based effects because, to be honest, both of these leave a little bit to be desired, in my opinion, tone-wise anyway. I like them because I like the features on them, and and they're just, to me, that alone kind of makes them cool. And it's fun to toy around with them. But this one sounds okay. This one just, without an EQ pedal, there's not enough mid-range in it to make it really even anything remotely close to usable. So, as I'm recording this, that video has not gone live yet. So, as of this recording, nobody has seen that one, or obviously this one. But I'm expecting to hear comments about these two pedals on that video, about how people did not care for the tone, and I get it. So, but I thought it would also be good for me in this video to do a quick demonstration about how to swap out the cores in these pedals, which is what I'm going to do because, as I just mentioned, I need the docks. So, this one is already good to go. This is the Space Chorus, and this one we are going to use. This is a cool pedal because it is it's a good sounding chorus pedal, and it's one of the only chorus pedals that I know, certainly in the price range that I bought this thing for, that actually has a tap tempo on it, which is pretty handy. The surgery that these two are going to receive, the transplant, one of these is going to receive the Otto filter, which is a filter effect of some kind. I'll admit, this thing showed up in my mailbox. I bought it dirt cheap. I think I paid $10 for this. Just a couple of months ago, and I'll be honest, I've never even tried it out yet. So, what you guys hear is gonna be what I hear for the first time. And this is another one called the Tap Tremolo. That one's pretty self-explanatory, I think. And I'm also going to demonstrate the Verbzilla, which is the reverb pedal, of course, and the crown jewel of this entire series, of course, is the Echo Park delay, and we're going to talk about that one as well. So. But for the time being, let's talk about how to swap out the cores. You see there are two Allen screws on the back. You're going to need to go down to your garage and get your toolbox because you do not have the right size Allen wrench in your guitar repair kit, most likely. This is a 7/32 size Allen wrench, and none of my guitars take that size, so I had to go track one down. But that is what size is required for these pedals. So, step number 1, loosen the screws. Remove the screws. Try not to lose them. Fortunately, these are black screws that I'm dropping onto white carpet. Alright, so once you have the screws removed, set those aside for just a second. Once you have the screws removed, that third little thing right there, that button right above the 9-volt power input is actually a release switch. So you need to push that in, and that will release the module. And you can pop it out of there fairly easily. Set it aside. This one we will take Mr. Auto Filter, and then it's just a matter of reversing the process. And that's what the inside of this thing looks like, if you are able to see it. And you can see where the little metallic data reader thingies all need to line up. So we're going to do that. Just pops right back in. Kind of hear it lock into place. Reinstall the screws, theoretically. And in Line 6 world, that is how you convert a distortion pedal to an auto filter. Just like that. Nothing to it. Let's swap out the other one real quick. And there we have it. So now we have essentially all modulation and time-based effects. All right, so I am going to take just a few moments and get this room set up and configured properly, and then we'll demo it and hear how they sound. Okay, that was fun, and what I mean by that is in between the time, the time that I finished swapping out the modules in some of these pedals, and when I actually started the demo, the recording of the demo that you saw, there was about a 2-hour gap in between there, just from configuring cables, and as I was testing everything out to make sure everything was good to go, my amp blew up. So looks like it fired back up. I don't know what happened, but my clean tone is vastly deteriorated from what it once was. So it sounds like a tube issue. So looks like I get to spend money repairing an amp, but that comes with owning tube amps, I guess. Anyway, not onto the ToneCore pedals. Before I forget, as we continue to near ever closer to 10,000 subscribers, one of my partners, Picker's Grip, has volunteered to donate some of his product as well as a Picker's Grip t-shirt for a giveaway. So I've decided, here's what we're going to do. And I'm going to announce this over the course of the next several videos, and then once we get to 10,000, then I will make a decision. If money were no object, what is the one piece of gear that you would buy? And I'm looking for the most creative answer. So what that means is the 59 Les Pauls and the Dumbles and the really, really expensive, high dollar, artist owned collectible pieces of gear. You might, before you give one of those answers, you might want to do something better than that. Or you might want to think about something other than that, because I expect plenty of those. I'm looking for the most creative answer with what piece of gear would you buy if money were no object. So I will compile all of the responses that I get. You can respond here. You can respond on Facebook. You can send me an email, leave me a comment on the website, whatever is convenient for you. But I'm looking for the most creative answer to that question. The only caveat is you must be in the continental. You must be a viewer in the continental United States. The reason why is because Picker's Grip is also going to pick up the cost of the shipping for this giveaway. So a free Picker's Grip, a Picker's Grip t-shirt, and I believe he's even going to toss in some pics for you. So once again, what is the one piece of gear that you would buy if money were no object? And be creative. Now, on to the rest of these ToneCore series pedals. As I'm sure you probably noticed when you stack a whole bunch of these up together, these are all running in the effects loop, by the way. They are very, very noisy. And I've noticed over the course of time that I've owned several of these that they can also be very temperamental. Just depending on what you've got running before and after them, what amp you're running them into, what guitar you're playing with them, etc., etc. So, because the Echo Park, I've had it, I've used it quite a few times, and it has sounded fantastic. And same with the Verbzilla. And the Echo Park, especially in this demo today, did not perform anywhere near like I had expected it to. So just didn't sound that good with it lined up in this rig for whatever reason, The Verbzilla is cool. That one's got the Octo mode on it. Both the Verbzilla and the Echo Park both got about like 11 or 12 different modes on them. And one mode on the Verbzilla is called the Octo, which I tried to demonstrate a little bit, and that's kind of that's a shimmer reverb effect that I think goes an octave up from the note that is played. So it doesn't, it's going to be an octave up, so it's going to stay in tune the whole time. That's not an issue like it is with some other shimmer reverb pedals that I have messed with in the past. But it does sound pretty good. You have the option to turn the trails on and off, which is what that switch does. I just prefer to leave them on. And then of course there's your typical room hall plate and spring reverb options on there as well. The Echo Park has many of the same similar, a lot of your typical delay modes that you might see everywhere. But what's unique about this pedal, and this is actually the truth with all three of these pedals, is that there's actually a tap tempo feature right there on the pedal itself. And you just tap it lightly to tap in the right tempo, and then tap it in a little bit harder till you feel it click to actually engage it. And that's the same with all three of these. The chorus is also, I do like the chorus. It gets very, very thick and lush the way I like it. That one also has a vibrato mode, which I demonstrated. What they just call a tri mode, which is kind of a combination between chorus and vibrato. That's another one. This is another pedal that's been pretty temperamental, just depending on the other gear that I'm using it with. And sounded pretty good today, but I've used it other times, and sometimes there's been I've used it in my Marshall before, and for some reason there's just a giant volume drop when it goes into that effects loop. I don't know why. As soon as you turn it on, it just kills the volume. There's a pretty significant drop in volume on everything. Again, I don't know why that is. The tap tremolo rather, does some pretty interesting things. That one kind of reacts to your strumming, and the harder you strum kind of seems to affect the rate of which the tremolo bounces back and forth. And I'm not a real big tremolo user, so it's kind of neither here nor there for me. I thought it was kind of cool, and be a cool effect if you find the right use for it. So there's a lot of tremolo people out there that would find that useful, I'm sure. And last but not least, the Otto filter is this one over here on the end. What you just heard me play on this video is the first time I have ever actually plugged that thing in. So what you heard was the first time that I've heard it as well, and it's pretty cool. It does some pretty oddball, some pretty wacky stuff. Basically it's kind of a wah pedal with a lot of different voicings on it without the treadle control on it. So it's hence the name Otto, except they spell it O-T-T-O instead of A-U-T-O. But that's essentially what it is an auto wah, and in my opinion, a very, very, very good sounding auto wah pedal at that. And that is one that I will probably continue to just search for a use for at some point, just because I just think it's that cool. If I didn't mention already, if you may have noticed right from the onset of when I actually started the demo, again, you stack a bunch of these together and they can get real noisy. I don't think, and part of it is I'm running all of these off a one spot, just a daisy chain, a 1300 millivolt or 1300 milliamp power supply, I think, running all these, which may just be right there at the limit because these things are current hogs. Every one of these takes a lot of juice. I think both of the delay, the Echo Park and the Verbzilla in particular, are both probably require about 185 milliamps a piece, I believe, if my memory serves. I'll look that up and see if I can find it and post it on the screen. So But regardless, those two in particular require a lot of power current. The other three aren't quite so bad, at least compared to the Verbzilla and the Echo Park. However, with when you compare them to other chorus and tremolo and auto wah pedals on the market, they're still probably going to require quite a bit more current than most of those other pedals that might be out there. They are very, very temperamental. If you're going to buy one of these without trying it in your own rig first, which is most likely going to be the case, just be prepared that you might have to do some swapping around and do some experimenting. So, speaking of picking one of these up, these are out of production, have been for several years now. So you're going to be looking for them on the used market. The good news is most of them are generally pretty inexpensive. You can buy most of these for probably right around 50-60 bucks, maybe, give or take. I don't think I've paid much more than that for any of them. The distortion pedals are, again, probably in the $20 to $40 range. So they're very affordable on the used market. The exception to that rule is the Echo Park. And for some reason, basically what the Echo Park is, the now legendary Line 6 DL4 delay pedal has been out for about 20 years now, and the DL4 is a 4-switch delay pedal that's about that wide on your pedal board. It just takes up a ton of room, and also the switches are notorious for going out in those things. So if you're looking to replace one of those and you want to conserve space, conserve real estate on your pedal board, the Echo Park was always a real good alternative to that. However, that is the one pedal out of this line that the pedal community seems to have discovered. And now that they've discovered it, that's usually what the first thing that's going to cause prices to get driven up on the used market. So Reverb.com actually did an article on that pedal a couple years ago, describing that particular, not just, there were several pedals, but this is one of the ones that was, the Echo Park was one of the ones that was mentioned as pedals that are climbing in value, and in many cases now even worth more than they were when they were new. I was fortunate I got to buy just a module because I already had the dock. So, I was able to pick mine up for a pretty good price. And not only that, but the one that was pictured was one that was in pristine condition. The one that I got, had some scratches and stuff on it, and turned out the seller had multiples of them and sent me the wrong one by mistake, and he knocked a few bucks off of that after that. So I got a real good deal on mine, but that's the exception, not the rule. So, pretty cool little devices, definitely very innovative. I think the thing with these pedals is, they don't, and again, depending on the rest of the gear that they're being used with, they sound pretty good, maybe not great. The design of them, I think, is spectacular, and I think probably the way that worked out was, it was, of course, George Trips designed these pedals in collaboration with Line 6, so I think he did the design of the pedal itself, and, this was still earlier in Line 6's existence. They started in '95, I believe, and their technology, modeling technology, had not advanced anywhere near what it is today. So, it was, at the time it was considered pretty cutting edge when these came out, which is about, sometime in the mid 2000s, I believe, maybe even a little sooner. Their modeling did not sound quite as good then. It really didn't sound anywhere near as good then as it does now. So, if you're looking for Helix quality effects, you'll get close, but, there's going to be some things in there that are, not probably not going to be quite up to those standards. Just being honest. And again, that's no fault of Line 6's. It's just, again, they are a very cutting-edge technology company, and their technology had not quite advanced to the point that it has now, which is where the Helix is. So there you have it, Line 6 ToneCore series pedals. Certainly nothing like it on the market, probably before or probably since. Very unique. I like them just for that reason. And yeah, go check them out. Again, these have been out of production for a number of years, so I will try to find links to post in the description. I'm not going to promise anything, just because I don't know what else is out there other than the used market. If you do need a link, I do, click the link to the reverb.com link that will be in the description, and you can search for them there. And I'll make sure and list the models there so that you know what you're looking for. Speaking of links, all the links to the rest of the gear used in this video will be in the description as well. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts might be on these pedals, if you have any experience with them. And don't forget to leave me your entry regarding the piece of gear that you would buy if money were no option. Again, most creative answer must be in the continental United States to be eligible. Last but not least, please hit the subscribe button and the alert icon right next to it so you don't miss out. And check out my merch shop on Teespring, as the income generated from those sales goes directly back into supporting this channel. As of this recording, it is well after 1 o'clock in the morning. I am absolutely exhausted. So I'm out. I'll see you in the next video. You know what? There are tons of young people out there that want to get involved in music and do not have the means to do so. If you are watching this video, most likely you're a musician, and many experienced musicians have tons of broken and unwanted gear lying around that they're not doing anything with. Please visit my friends at Share the Music on Facebook at the link below and learn how you and your unwanted gear can help change somebody's life.